From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang, and here are the news. On the top story, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday led the inspection of farmlands affected by the El Nino phenomenon at Sitio San Carlos, Barangay Central in San Jose Municipality, Occidental Mindoro Province. 5 towns in Oriental and Occidental Mindoro have recently been declared under a state of calamity as a result of the El Nino phenomenon. These towns include Mansalay and Bulalakaw in Oriental Mindoro, as well as Looc, Magsaysay, and San Jose in Occidental Mindoro. Reports indicate that approximately 1,000 farmers have been directly affected by this calamity, with an additional 1,000 farmers currently undergoing verification. The drought has caused significant damage to around 2,000 hectares of agricultural land. Joining the Chief Executive are Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. and Assistant Secretary Genevieve Velicaria Guevara of the Department of Agriculture or DA, National Irrigation Administration, NIA Administrator Eduardo Guillen, Occidental Mindoro's Lone District Representative Leo Di Tariela, Occidental Mindoro Vice Governor Aniceta Diana Apigo Tayag, and DA Region 4B Executive Director Christopher Banyas.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. brings the bagong Pilipinas Serbisyo Fair and Kadiwa ng Pangulo to the San Jose Town Plaza in the municipality of San Jose, Occidental Mindoro Province Tuesday. An array of essential government services and assistance are made available to the beneficiaries and people of the province. Participating national government agencies include the Philippine Department of Health or DOH, Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT, Department of Trade and Industry or DTI, Department of Agriculture or DA, Government Service Insurance System or GSIS, pagtutulungan sa kinabukasan, ikaw, bangko, industriya at gobyerno or pag-ibig, Social Security System, SSS, Land Transportation Office or LTO, National Bureau of Investigation or NBI, Philippine Regulatory Commission or PRC, and Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. On the other hand, sellers from the Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR, Department of Social, Welfare and Development or DSWD, DTI, DA, and the Municipality of San Jose are among the participants in the Kadiwa program.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. said the government is looking at connecting Mindoro's 2 provinces to the grid through a submarine cable as a long-term solution to their electricity supply concerns. The president made the remarks when asked in a media interview in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro about the fastest and best solution to the power woes in Oriental and Occidental Mindoro. The fastest solution is through solar power, which could be complemented by other power sources such as wind, hydro, and geothermal, according to Marcos, noting all possible sources of energy are being studied by the government in addition to strengthening the system. Asked about the possibility of the Mindoro provinces exiting the power supply agreement with a power generator, President Marcos Jr. said the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC is currently negotiating for electricity pricing for the two provinces. Once it is done, the government may consider subsidizing energy in the province, he added. As to the power outages in Occidental Mindoro, the president said there is enough electricity supply for the province. He said the government is working to address tripping at power plants and substations to prevent power interruptions. The president admitted the occurrence of technical problems, ruling out sabotage in the province's power outages.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday assured the public of sufficient food supply, particularly rice, despite the current El Niño phenomenon. This was made possible by the new farming techniques and improved irrigation system adopted by the government, according to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. As a remedy, he said the government is fast-tracking the installation of solar pumps in upland non-irrigated areas to boost production. He said the government is also building dams and impounding pond. The National Irrigation Administration, or NIA's goal, he said, is to widen irrigation coverage to enable farmers to plant crops, particularly palay, even during drought season. NIA reported that among its assistance to El Niño affected areas in the province are the deployment of 3 new long-arm backhoes and 1 wheel-type backhoe to all affected areas needing immediate canal clearing and desilting works. Some 1,200 liters of diesel fuel were also distributed to farmers affected by the drought to subsidize the fuel requirement for diesel-powered water pumps, in addition to 68 solar, diesel, and water-powered pumps installed to irrigate 274 hectares of farmlands. The agency also cited the construction of 18.6 kilometers of concrete irrigation canal, along with 64 units of canal structures improving the delivery of irrigation water. Some 7.6 kilometers of canal was also desilted by the agency to ensure unhampered water delivery and high efficiency of irrigation services to local farmers.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday assured onion producers in Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan, or the Mimaropa region, of the necessary state interventions like putting up cold storage facilities to stabilize the price of the agricultural product during peak harvest season. The establishment of cold storage warehouses will benefit both onion growers and consumers, according to President Marcos. He made the assurance when asked about government actions to address production gluts that affect farmers. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr., who was with the President in Mindoro for the town hall meeting, said the Department of Agriculture, or DA, is currently establishing 2 cold storage facilities in Occidental Mindoro, one in San Jose and another in Magsaysay. Each cold storage will have a capacity of 1,400 tons. Next year, the DA will build another 5 cold storage warehouses to be funded by this year's budget. There are, in addition to the Kadiwa centers being put up in Metro Manila, which will be the main market for Mindoro farmers selling their produce without dealing with middlemen that jack up prices. He said farmers and cooperatives will be given spaces at the said trading centers. They only have to spend for logistics to bring their products to the metropolis. Government data showed the Mimaropa region leading onion production in the country. During the April to June 2023 quarter, it produced 46.94 thousand metric tons of 55.3% share to the total. This was followed by Central Luzon with 23.66 thousand metric tons and Ilocos region with 12.54 thousand metric tons.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. described himself as one lucky husband because she has First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos as his wife. The First Lady has publicly defended the president against all forms of criticisms. He was referring to the recent comments of the First Lady to the personal attacks hurled by former President Rodrigo Duterte against her husband. The First Lady said in an interview that she disliked how Vice President Sara Duterte laughed at her father's criticisms against the chief executive during a rally held in Davao City. President Marcos said he will meet with the Vice President to iron things out. Asked if there is a need to patch things up with the Vice President, the chief executive said that he does not see the reason for that, as he emphasized that everything remains all right between him and the Education Secretary. President Marcos assured his working relationship with Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte will not be tarnished amid personal issues between her and the First Lady.
Dateline Malacañang.
In related news, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. defended Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte Anu amid the mounting calls for her to resign from the cabinet. President Marcos visited Occidental Mindoro on Tuesday to provide cash assistance and other services to farmers and fishermen affected by the El Niño phenomenon. He also listened to their grievances amid the effects of the punishing weather condition. He said that he will meet with Vice President Duterte to discuss important matters. Asked if he will give assurance to the Vice President that she will keep her post, the chief executive emphasized that he does not see the need to do it. The president also said that the Vice President will remain as Education Secretary, adding that cabinet members will only be removed from their posts if they are inefficient or corrupt.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday warned the public against the video content on social media that has been manipulated using deepfake technology to make it appear as if Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is directing the military to act against a particular country. In a statement, the Philippine Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, belied the claim of the manipulated content that has been making the rounds in a popular video streaming platform. Citing its media and information literacy campaign, the PCO said it is actively working on measures to combat fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. It added that it is closely coordinating and working with relevant government agencies and private sector partners to address the proliferation and the malicious use of video and audio deepfakes and other generative AI content. It also urged the public to join the fight against fake news and be responsible social media users.
Dateline Malacañang.
A recent Doctor Research survey showing a notable decrease in self-rated poverty and hunger among Filipino families is a clear indication that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s anti-poverty programs and efforts are effectively reaching and improving the lives of Filipinos, Speaker Martin Romualdez said on Tuesday. According to the Tugon ng Masa survey from March 11 to March 14, 2024, the country's self-rated poverty is at 42%, which is a 3% lower compared to 45% recorded in a similar survey held in the fourth quarter of 2023. In terms of self-rated hunger, the survey found that around 11%, or an estimated 2.9 million Filipino families, experienced involuntary hunger in the past 3 months. The March 2024 self-rated hunger figure is 3% lower than the recorded 14%, or around 3.7 million families in the December 2023 survey. The Marcos administration's anti-poverty efforts include the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps, the DSWD's assistance to individuals in crisis situation, the DOLE's tulong panghanap buhay sa ating disadvantaged, displaced workers or TUPAD, and other programs such as free college education, free health insurance, and the grant of direct cash subsidies. He also highlighted the efforts of the House of Representatives in collaboration with national government agencies to complement the President's programs such as the Bagong Pilipinas Serbisyo Fair or BPSF, the Cash and Rice Distributions or CARD program, the Startup Investment Business Opportunity and Livelihood or CBOL, and the Farmers Assistance for Recovery and Modernization or FARM. The BPSF, which just concluded its 15th installment in Benguet Province, is realizing President Marcos' desire to bring government services closer to the people, including food, financial, and livelihood assistance to all 82 provinces across the country. The CARD program, in collaboration with the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, continues to provide hundreds of thousands of beneficiaries with rice and cash assistance, with each beneficiary from vulnerable sectors receiving a 25-kilogram sack of rice and cash to help in everyday life. Romualdez said a decline in self-rated poverty and hunger also showed that the efforts of both the administration of President Marcos and the House of Representatives to control inflation and increase household income are bearing fruit. He assured that the House of Representatives will continue working with the executive to further strengthen social programs, enhance economic opportunities, and ensure that economic growth is felt by every Filipino family across the nation. Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD spokesperson Irene Dumlao said the survey proves that the government is on the right track in providing a whole-of-nation and whole-of-government approach in fighting hunger and poverty. Aside from 4Ps, Dumlao cited the Walang Gutom 2027 No Hunger in 2027 Food Stamp Program or FSP, which will scale up its implementation this July from 3,000 beneficiaries to 300,000 across the country. The FSP is one of the priority programs of the Marcos administration that aims to fight involuntary hunger by providing food augmentation to the bottom 1 million households based on the Listahanan 3 who belong to the food poor criteria as defined by the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. The DSWD also partners with local government units or LGUs in implementing the Supplementary Feeding Program or SFP, which provides nutritious snacks and hot meals to augment the regular meals of children enrolled in Supervised Neighborhood Play, SNP, and Child Development Centers or CDCs. The DSWD, which chairs the Interagency Task Force on Zero Hunger or IATF-ZH, and its partner agencies will also continue to prioritize the implementation and monitoring of nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive programs to address food insecurity in the country.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine Department of Migrant Workers or DMW is targeting to bring home the remains of the 3 overseas Filipino workers or OFWs who died during the severe flooding in the United Arab Emirates or UAE on or before April 27. In a virtual press conference on Tuesday, the DMW officer in charge, Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak, said the Migrant Workers Office or MWO in Dubai is now processing the needed documents to be able to repatriate the bodies. MWO Dubai Labor Attaché John Rio Bautista said part of the process before the remains can be repatriated is to secure police and forensic reports, no objection certificate, and death certificate from the Philippine consulate. Bautista said they have already turned over the personal belongings of 2 of the victims to their next of kin in Dubai. The relatives of the 2 OFWs also received other entitlements of the victims such as unpaid salary and leave credits. Meanwhile, Kakdak went to Bacolor, Pampanga on Tuesday to visit the family of one of the 2 female OFWs who died from suffocation inside their vehicle while stranded during the Dubai flooding in April 16. The families of two victims earlier expressed doubts on the circumstances surrounding the death of their relatives. The families sought the help of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, for clarifications. He assured that the DMW hired a lawyer to look into the details of the deaths.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still from the DMW, the Philippine Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, on Tuesday reminded Filipinos planning to work and migrate to Canada to pass through the department's verification process. DMW officer in charge, Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak, made this remark after incidents of Filipinos migrating to Canada without going through the right processes and instead dealt with unlicensed recruiters who charged them exorbitant fees. Kakdak said that the DMW on April 12 issued Advisory 9, which provides the guidelines and processes governing the documentation of Filipinos under Canada's immigration programs. He said under Advisory 9, the OFWs are required to pass through the DMW to prevent illegal recruitment and trafficking of persons. The advisory states that Filipinos bound for Canada who were hired through the Atlantic Immigration Pilot, or AIP, holders of Canada's open work permit under the International Mobility Program, holders of a bridging open work permit, Postgraduate Work Permit Program, or PGWP, participants of the Home Child Care Provider Pilot, or HCCPP, and Home Support Worker Pilot, or HSWP programs should undergo contract verification and documentary processing by the DMW. Kakdak said the documentary processing as an OFW would be coursed through a licensed Philippine recruitment agency. Meanwhile, Canada banned Filipinos with an open work permit to vulnerable workers would only be required to undergo the DMW's documentary processing if they are already in possession of a valid or existing employment contract. The advisory also provides that work that is not religious, such as clerical, accounting, and administrative, would be required to undergo the DMW's documentary processing even if the employer is a religious institution. Spouses or common law partners of principal foreign nationals who are or will be employed in high-skilled occupations, spouses or common law partners of principal foreign nationals who hold valid study permits and are enrolled full-time in post-graduation work permit eligible studies, and permanent residence applicants in the spouse or common law partner in Canada class are not deemed OFWs and need not pass documentary processing through the DMW. Kakdak also reminded OFWs planning to apply to Canada of the no placement fee policy.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, for Dateline Malacañang, for our special coverage on the ongoing efforts of the administration to address the effects of El Nino, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday presided over a situation briefing in Occidental Mindoro Province. The President listened to the report of Occidental Mindoro Vice Governor Aniceta Diana Apigo Tayag, who provided a comprehensive situationer focusing on the prevailing conditions and its impact on local communities. Department of Agriculture, or DA Secretary Francisco Chu Laurel Jr. discussed the government's strategy to mitigate the adverse effects of El Nino on agriculture, a vital sector for the province's economy. Following a thorough assessment of the situation, President Marcos Jr. issued his guidance and directives to the province of Occidental Mindoro. Among the attendees at the situation briefing are cabinet secretaries, local chief executives of affected areas, regional directors, and other government officials. Let us listen to the situation briefing presided over by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in the province of Occidental Mindoro.
Alright, good morning, magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Andito tayo ngayon para pakinggan itong briefing na kung paano naapektuhan ng lalawigan ng Occidental Mindoro dito sa El Nino. Siyempre nakita natin dahil napuntahan natin yung isang bahagi, one part na nakita talaga natin napakatuyo. Kaya gumagawa tayong plano para sa patubig. But it's useful to first alamin natin kung ano ba ang overall situation para makapagplano kami sa national government. Andito lahat ng mga cabinet secretary na kabahagi sa pagdala ng tulong, pagdala ng ayuda, pagdala ng tupad, lahat, pati yung coordination, kaya nandito ang DILG, pati yung MAIP na binibigay natin, nandito ang DOH, and the DA na nakapagbigay tayo kanina ng crop insurance. So, sige, let us proceed. Vice Governor, you will give us the situation sa province of Occidental Mindoro.
Magandang umaga po sa ating mahal na Presidente. Welcome po ulit sa Occidental Mindoro, sa mga gabinete na nandito po, sa mga mayors, kay Congressman. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalaw sa aming probinsya. Ito po ay isang pambihirang pagkakataon talaga na sobra po naming na-appreciate, mahal na Presidente. Maraming salamat po sa pagbibigay attention sa aming lalawigan. Mr. President, the province of Occidental Mindoro is under the state of calamity due to the effects of El Nino. 67% of our land area with standing crops had been affected by the severe drought. 20% had been completely devastated. This resulted to more than 900 million pesos in losses to our farmers and the agricultural sector in our province. Occidental Mindoro is one of the top producers of onion and palay. Since it is dry season, vast farm area in the province had been planted with onions, resulting to the damage of almost 300 million pesos in onions alone. May nagbuwis din po ng buhay, may mga nagpakamatay dahil sa sobrang pagkalugi. For palay, the damage due to drought is estimated to more than 5%, but it still accumulated to more than 200 million po. Kami po ay isang agricultural province. Kapag dapa ang magsasaka, dapa po ang aming ekonomiya. Ang aming mga palayan ay tuyo na, pati po ang aming mga ilog. Sana po matulungan nyo kami na maitayo nga, kagaya po ng nasabi nyo kanina, kailangan po namin maayos na irigasyon. Marami pa po kaming taniman, pero karamihan ay sahod ulan lamang po o rain-fed. Sayang ang lupa. Bukod po dito, kukunin ko ng pagkakataon, kami po ay nasa state of power crisis. Napakamahal po ng presyo ng kuryente namin. 20 kilowatt per hour, habang ang Meralco po, 12 kilowatt per hour lamang. Nasa emergency power supply procurement po kami, wala pong subsidiyang nai-enjoy ang aming lalawigan. Iisa lang po ang aming power provider, at pag may problema siya, nagba-blackout po kami dito. Prayer po namin na sana mawala na kami sa sitwasyon ng monopolya at makakapapasok ng ibang power providers dito sa aming lalawigan. Apektado po ng problemang ito ang agricultural sector. Mahalaga po ito sapagkat ang maayos na supply ng kuryente ay siyang susi para ang mga magsasaka namin makapture ang full value po ng kanilang produkto. Sa ngayon, wala po kaming mga cold storage dahil nga po napakamahal ng kuryente. Ang aming pong mga gilingan, rice mill, iba pa pong post-harvest facilities ay hindi na rin tumatakbo, yung iba po ay nagsara na. Ang aming mga fisher folks affected din po dahil kailangan din namin ng maayos na supply ng kuryente para po sa mga yelo. Sana po ay matulungan niyo po kami na mapababa ang singil sa kuryente para kami naman po ay umunlad at tumaas naman ang value chain mula sa raw products. Naniniwala po kami na mula sa inyong karanasan sa Ilocos, matutulungan niyo po kami sa pagpapapasok ng renewable energy, kagaya ng windmill, solar power. Ang dekadang problema po namin sa kuryente, sana po ay masolusyonan ngayong kayo na po ang presidente. Ito naman po ay sa paniniwala namin dito sa Occidental Mindoro na ang susi sa pag-unlad ng aming lalawigan ay maayos na kuryente at pagtutok sa agrikultura sa tulong niyo po, mahal na Presidente. Maraming salamat po.
All right. Thank you. Siguro we have to wala ba tayong situational in terms of the El Nino the areas? Kasi kung magpaplano kami na gagawa ng irrigation system, saan natin lalagay? Saan yung priority? Saan yung mauna? Saan yung pinakamabigat ang problema? Kasi hindi naman maaaring sabay-sabayan. At we are hindi lamang ang Oriental Mindoro ang may problema. Kung hindi, actually buong Pilipinas. Sa Mindanao lang medyo nakaligtas. But most of the provinces, especially lalo na yung mga nasa western side, yun ang mga talagang tinamaan ng El Nino. So maybe we can move on to the report of Secretary Kiko Laurel on what are the interventions, the government response, kung ano na nang gawa ng pamahalaan para tulungan ang ating mga tignan mo yung picture, talagang walang-wala, tuyok. So I will listen now to Secretary Laurel, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Basically, our total, first slide, please. Our total amount of, well, this is not an updated figure, no? The updated figure is, we have total amount of intervention is 1.129 billion pesos as of today. Next slide, please. In our interventions, we will be giving cold storage facilities worth 40 million for some plastic crates, packets of vegetable seeds, 56,000 lang. Fuel assistance of 3,000 per beneficiary at 1.179 million. 11 units, pumps and engines. With a rice program of 5,000 cash assistance per beneficiary worth 5.65 million pesos. On the PRDP project of the DA, construction of the Surong Bridge and upgrading of Barangay Aguas FMR Rizal with the amount of 263 million pesos. Onion consolidation and trading facility in 150 million pesos in San Jose. And another one, onion consolidation and trading facility in Magsaysay worth 150 million pesos also. For the livestock program, we have a modified Inspire program which is worth 5 million pesos. Next slide, please.
Before we go to that, yung problema dun sa cold storage, because magbibigay tayo ng vegetable, tapos dito maraming talagang sibuyas. Yung problema, maglagay tayo ng cold storage, mahal masyado yung kuryente.
Actually, before, Mr. President, this morning pa na napag-usapan na namin, that's the one thing I asked you. So, I just gave an instruction this morning to our RD that nagagawin na namin solar cold storage. So, for 2025, yung ginagawa ngayon, hindi na namin magagawa because it was still a 2023 budget, it's ongoing. So, yung susunod na tatayo namin to be finished by 2025, solar na yun. So,
Solar powered.
Solar powered na. So, lahat ng mga interventions natin ngayon, moving forward sa DA, sir, it's solar power irrigation and solar power cold storage for high-value crops.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
That will eliminate the need for
talaga.
electricity.
Yun ang swerte ng Pilipinas in the sense na yung solar kahit saan pwede. Kahit saan pwedeng gamitin. Tapos we are encouraging yung tinatawag na self-use na nagtatayo ng solar para sa planta. Yun lang, hindi na pumapasok sa grid. Doon na, diretso na. Basta sila self-use lang ang ginagamit. Pero we have to change the law a little bit. But still, nagagawa na natin. We're slowly adopting that kind of strategy. Oh. Okay, let's
Thank
keep
you,
going.
sir. Next, for PhilMec, as you have seen, we have given 2 units of combined harvester and 2 four-wheel, well, actually more four-wheel tractors were given, not only 2 this morning. Then yung sa tinatanong nyo kanina sa akin, yung sa BIFAR, we will be giving 162-foot tuna handliner fishing accompanied by 6 18-foot small boats na tinatawag ng pakura. So yun yung malaki na, nabanggit ko sa inyo. At nakita nyo kanina, yung 7 units na fish aggregating device or payaw na nasa likod ng display ng mga small na bangka. So we complete with marine engines and fishing gears. For the Philippine crop insurance, the El Nino indemnification, it was worth 5.1 million pesos. Next slide, please. For the DAACPC, a total of 77 million ang ating binigay kanina.
Ito. Okay.
Yeah, basically 50 million from Occidental Mindoro Cooperative Bank, then may 20 million to Progressive Multipurpose Cooperative and Henaro ARV Multipurpose Cooperative of 4 million. Sa PCA naman, ready tayo to deploy 60,000 coconut seedlings. So for implementation na ho yan after our trip. For the Bureau of Soils and Water Management, meron din tayong small-scale composting facilities na 8 units and may malalaki din. Ibibigay na 65 units, totaling 65 million pesos. Next, please. For NIA,
nakita ko kanina sa soil management yung meron silang soil testing kit na
Yes, sir.
binibigay. That's important para malaman natin kung
dinideploy na yun, sir.
Binibigay yung nakita natin kanina.
Yes, sir.
Sa ano yun?
Sa may gym, outside the gym.
Pero alam nilang gamitin.
Madali ho yung gamitin
Kasi hindi lang yung paggamit, kailangan basahin yan para malaman mo kung anong fertilizer, kailan ka maglalagay ng fertilizer, gaano karami, kung mataba pa yung lupa o medyo pagod na, kailangan ipahinga, whatever. Yun ang kaya importante
yung...
yung...
first week ko na kumuha ko ng test kit, sinubukan ko mismo sa sarili kong farm madali ho gamitin, madali.
Madaling gamitin.
Madali ho.
Sige.
Sa NIA naman, maybe we can ask Admin Gillian to present.
Thank you, sir. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, Mr. President. For sa NIA po, ang interventions delivered natin ay, of course, bukod dyan sa nakalista dyan, may construction pa po tayo ng concrete canal lining amounting to 189 million. Desilting ng canal lining, of course, ang ginamit natin yung equipment na ng NIA. So yung fuel lang ang ginasusan at 234,000. Yung installation of water pump, around 95 million po lahat ito. 38 solar-powered water pumps and 40 diesel pumps and fuel subsidy. And ways forward, meron pa pong itatayo ngayong taon na ito na 33 units na solar-powered pumps worth 10 million naman ang isa. So ito yung mas malalaki. May 4 small irrigation projects tayo amounting to 77 million din. And sisimulan na rin po natin yung itong lipitan na dam natin. Ito yung mag-irrigate ng around almost 7,000 hectares po ito. At ang amount po nito is nasa 1 million per hectare kasi tayo. So almost 7 billion po ito. Ipapabid na po ng NIA po ito. So, yun po, sir.
Kailan yung mga pump, kailan na naibigay na natin?
May naibigay na.
Kailan dadating?
Sorry, sir. May naibigay na po tayong 38 units na solar pumps.
Nailabas na.
Opo. At may ibibigay pa po tayong mga 30 po sa kanila.
Next slide, please. Basically, we need to conduct further assessment of the situation dahil nasa height pa tayo ng El Nino. And from what I heard from Pag-asa is hopefully it will die down na slowly starting after 2 weeks. And we're hoping that by mid to end of May, may umulan na siguro ng konti. Yun ang binanggit ng forecast. So we are now crafting a rehabilitation and recovery plan to be financed under the Quick Response Fund. An initial recovery plan for agri-fishery areas of Occidental Mindoro is amounting to 114 million pesos, no? Besides that, wala sa slide na to, we are creating the logistics office under a new assistant secretary for logistics at the DA, which shall serve a significant role in establishing the cold storage network and agricultural logistics management facilities in Occidental Mindoro. Besides the presentations here, nahabol lang namin na meron kami makukuhang pera sa DBM, sir, for the additional solar irrigation pump and solar cold storages. And I mentioned to the Congressman and the Vice Governor na since nakita na natin sitwasyon dito, we will add pa dun sa binibigay ng NIA.
Okay.
Next slide, please. Thank you.
All right. So what sa assessment ng DA, ano pang kailangan natin gawin? Where you have identified the areas that are most in need, I'm sure. Well, mabibigyan tayo ng idea ni Congressman at ni Vice tungkol diyan. Magpatulong tayo sa kanila dahil alam nila yung area. Although si Administrator Eddie mukhang tumagal yata dito kaya kabisado rin niya yung area. Bago nag-mayor ng Pindig ito na nandito rata siya na nagtrabaho. So alam niya yung local situation. Sige. Okay, but we have to get this done as quickly as possible. So mukha namang tuloy-tuloy yung mga, first of all, yung ating mga tulong in terms of, again, of the TUPAD, the MAIP, the AYUDA, and then the continuing coordination with the DILG, the DTI. I think we nakapagbigay din kayo ng mga equipment, and there's an internship also that we were able to that we have offered. So altogether, how many beneficiaries have we been able to reach sa TUPAD? Ilan yun? Sabi mo kanina,
Magandang umaga po.
Benny, na umabot ng 5,000.
Yes, Mr. President. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. As of April 23, sir, today, meron na po tayong na-profile o nalistahan ng beneficiary, more or less 6,000 po. Today po ang payout po dun sa kalahati nun. Ang susunod po sa next month. And we have earmarked something like 27 million for that. Yun hong isang binigyan yun ng cheque na almost 1 million. Installation po yun ng peace aggregating device para ho sa Palawan. Mga 58 po ang beneficiaries doon. And we have more or less 5,000 beneficiaries for our government internship program. So a total more or less yan mga 30 million plus ang nauna ho na earmark. And we will be continuing providing assistance. Lagi po kaming humihingi ng listahan ng mga apektadong farmers at fisher po sa atin po mga local government officials. Kasama na po ang ating congressman dahil lahat po ng 11 municipalities na affected, meron na po kaming mga naibabang tulong sa kanila. Pero tuloy-tuloy po yung aming pagbibigay ng ayuda until siguro po medyo makaluwag-luwag sila ng konti at maibsan po itong pinsala ng El Nino.
Okay, thank you, Sec. Benny. We'll go down the line. DOH, how is the distribution of MAIP going?
Meron kaming MAIP with the regional office at ito binibigay sa ating mga ospital ng governor dito sa Mindoro. In fact, ang konsepto namin dito kasi ang problema sa ospital dito sa tulong ng medical, pumupunta pa sila sa Region 4A sa Batangas. So ang hope sana namin magkaroon ng DOH hospital sa Occidental Mindoro. Si Congressman Tariela merong proposed House bill na ipasa na sa Department of Health yung
Asa na yung bill mo?
provincial hospital.
Pero tapos na?
Senate, nasa Senate na.
Nasa Senado?
Senate na.
Pagwak natin. Ano? Oo.
Ito yung sana propose ko yung San Jose District. Turn over to DOH.
At yung savings nila magagamit para sa ibang district hospital.
We don't have level 2 hospital here.
Wala kayong
So,
level
ibig
two.
sabihin, wala kaming ICU dito.
Operasyon, ICU.
So we have to upgrade everything.
Yes, so ito kasing Mimaropa, lahat island provinces. So ang only solution, it cannot have one regional. My solution is one DOH hospital per province. So yun ang hinahanap namin. Nagkataon naman, may proposed bill na ibigay na sa amin for funding.
Pag sinasabi mo per province one, how big a hospital? Ilang beds?
Mga 100 beds siguro,
Up to
50 to 100
100
beds.
Aba,
Oo.
Sikat
Para
kayo, 100 beds na kagad kayo. Oh, sige. Then we'll...
Biyahe, ang layo po talagang.
Kaya nga, masyadong
hihingi ng
malayo.
pera sa
Masyadong malayo.
tupad o sa AIX para makabiyahe.
That's why we are spending a lot of MAIP dito, President, no? Para matulungan lang yung ating mga may sakit. And then I'm very grateful to the DOH Secretary that they are giving so much assistance for our MAIP. No?
Good. All right. Okay. Sa DTI naman, what are the interventions that we have been able to bring so far?
Ang ginawa po ng DTI ay mag-identify ng mga nagpuproduce ng produkto na may potential na malaking market at bigyan namin ang 5 enterprises ng take 50,000 pesos para pagtulong sa laboratory analysis, product packaging and labels, and the aim is to improve the product quality. So, yung dinaanan natin mga nagbebenta ng mga food products, yung iba doon hindi makalabas sa local market, sa mga trade fair, kasi wala pa sila nung certificate of product registration at mahal yung magpaparegister sa FDA. Ano? Kaya ito, tulong para doon sa laboratory, mahal yung laboratory analysis ng ano eh. So binigyan natin ng tulong para...
Saan ginagawa?
Sa FDA.
Sa Maynila pa? Oh,
Karamihan. Pero may mga, ang FDA may mga satellite ano rin. Ewan ko sa Mindoro kung meron dito. Wala dito. Kaya malayo eh.
Wala yata
So, ito nga, dahil itong mga magandang potential itong mga MSME na to at yung mga makapagbigay ng employment. Hindi na lang to yung pamilya lang nagtatrabaho. Pag lumaki yung production nila dahil lumaki yung market, magbibigay sila ng employment dun sa mga nawawalan ng hanap buhay dito sa Mindoro Occidental.
Oh, sige. May training tayo lahat, all the components.
Yeah. May kasama na doon ang mga serbisyo pa namin, yung business name registration, business consultancy services.
Yan.
Pati yung pagkuha ng financing, product packaging, yung e-commerce onboarding, meron tayong mga e-commerce na sinasama natin sila, tsaka yung digital marketing sessions naman sa training. So, tapos yung...
Ang pinoproject talaga ng DTI, one of the main programs that DTI has is to digitalize para matuto yung mga MSME. Yung mga maliliit, ang dami kong nakita papunta rito, puro maliliit na kung ano klaseng tindahan. May restaurant, may garahe, may yung nakita ko yung doon sa Kaliwa, kung ano-ano. What we are trying to do para naman hindi limitado sa barangay lang yung marketing, dapat matututuran natin sila. First of all, we have to get you connected. Sa internet, number 1. Pag meron na kayong internet, magamit na ng kahit turuan natin sila. Ang naging experience kasi natin, kung mapakinggan ninyo si Secretary Fred, ay talagang puro yung management skills. Kasi yun na nga, yung paano magpautang, how to get a credit rating, yun ang kailangan natin ituro sa kanila. Para palakihin nila yung negosyo nila. Alam nilang paano humawak ng pera, kung paano pupunta sa bangko, kung paano saan gagamitin, all of these things. That's the main
President,
gap doon sa knowledge ng ating mga MSMEs.
dito sa Mindoro Occidental, merong 12 municipalities. Bawat isa noon, merong negosyo center na nagpo-provide ng consultancy services.
All right. Okay. Let's move on to the DSWDs. Sec Rex.
Mr. President, cumulatively, we've already distributed close to 5,739 family food packs. That's across the different municipalities. We have a stockpile in the island naman ho. So as we get the request for food packs, meron naman ho tayo yan. We work with the Office of the Governor and kay Kong Tariela and the LGUs. Now, in terms of cash, both for AIX and yung meron kaming cash for work rin ho eh. We've already we've already dispersed close to 12 million pesos in cash. And ongoing naman ho yun na concern. Every time we get request, we charge it against our AIX funds. Mr. President, kanina nabanggit ni Kong Tariela, coincidentally, kakatapos rin lang nung payout nung cash for work for last year's storm. If I'm not mistaken, that's around 88 million pesos
Ang nailabas.
ang nailabas ho natin. Kakatapos lang ho last week kasi medyo marami siya. So it was done in a staggered format. So tuloy-tuloy naman ho in terms of cash and family food packs. Yes, meron pa hong isa ho naka-line up rin.
Last year.
Yeah.
Still yung from last year yun.
From last year, President, because there are 2 municipalities declared state of calamity, the Sablayan
Sablayan.
and so we give cash transfer. No?
Nauna na ho yun, yung
Nauna
emergency
yun.
cash transfer. no?
Emergency
Yeah.
cash transfer.
Then ito, we're charging it against our AICs and at the same time the family food packs. And then yung cash forward na ho, Mr. President.
Alright. Well, depende na ngayon. Yung inaasahan natin pagka yung sa IX, pa cash forward, pati na yung pag-supply ng food pack ang ating mga local government. Kayo magre-request sa amin. Pero kayo rin ang magdi-distribute dahil hindi naman hanggang bayan ang opisina ng DSWD. Kaya kayo na munang bahala doon from the provincial office to the mayor's office, mga mayor's office. Siyempre, district office will also have a part to play. But we always, lagi kong sinasabi na yung last mile na tinatawag, yung local government talaga ang namamahala riyan. Kaya basta kung ano yung request niyo, pasabi niyo sa kung meron kami, padadala namin. Kung wala, papakuha pa tayo para maibigay sa mga nangangailangan. Alright, pero kaya yan, tama-tama, nandito si Sec Benher. Kailangan yung coordination ng national government at saka yung local government kailangan matibay para hindi tag-aantay na matagal, hindi na stack up yung mga tulong na dapat ibigay. So yun ang coordination na gagawin natin sa local government at saka sa national government. Kami mag-provide ng lahat ng pangangailangan. Meron naman kayong maganda naman yata yung pag-distribute ng QRF ninyo at maayos naman yung pagkagamit. Pero hanggang dyan lang yung QRF eh. Kaya kailangan yung kulang pa. Nandyan kami sa national government, doon kami papasok. And we will just have to hear from the local government officials, mga mayor, and of course the provincial government, the district office also. Although you're not technically local, you really are. Yan, Sec Benher, meron yatang itadagdag.
Yes, Mr. President, at this point, narinig po natin yung tulong ng ating national agencies po. No? Mr. President, gusto ko lang i-commend ang ating gobernador, vice governor, ang lahat ng mga mayor nandito po. No? Dahil mabilis po sila umaksyon, Mr. President. In fact, hindi lamang nag-state of calamity ang probinsya. Pinakuha ko yung report sa ating regional director ng DILG. 4 yata ito, Kalintaan, ang Look, Magsaysay, Sablayan, and San Jose are under the state of calamity. No? So umaksyon po kaagad sila and on their own po, of course, aside sa binigay na ayuda ng national, ito'y gumalaw rin sila sa paggamit ng water pumps at on their own, nagbigay sila mga food packs, no? Fertilizers and seeds, provision of water engine, financial assistance, at through the provincial government, nagbigay sila ng fuel assistance to affected farmers amounting to 8 million, no? And provision of pesticides amounting to 500,000. Yeah. Okay. So yun lang po ang maganda po rito yung magagaling po kumilos ang ating mga local chief executive rin po rito. And of course, napaka-active po ng ating mga cabinet members.
Good.
Yeah.
At least everybody is magandang coordination natin lahat. Yun ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. Dahil nandyan naman yung mga gamit, yung mga food pack, yung mga ayuda, yung lahat nandyan naman. Pero kailangan magandang mapaabot natin dun sa mga talagang nangangailangan. At hindi lang yung malapit sa poblasyon, pero lahat talaga, lalo na yung malalayo, kailangan matulungan natin. Alright. Okay. Thank you. I think let's hear from the mayors. Baka meron po kayong dadagdag, mga mayor, na pangangailangan pa o pwede pang para pagandahin ang patakbo dito. Vice Governor, maybe you have something more. We'll talk about the electricity problem. That's a long-term problem that we really have to solve. But we're kahit na mahal na ngayon, we are connecting you to the other provinces para immediately bababa yan. Kasi hindi na yung generator ng ginagamit, mahal masyado yun. Oo.
Yung case mo namin siguro
Thank you,
konting-konti na lang. We're constantly following it up with the administrator and then the ERC. Siguro konting tulong na lang from the ERC. Kasi medyo nag-rule sila na hindi naman masyado mababa. No? So parang if they're going to implement this ruling, maring magkakaroon ng problema yung supplier. Pero yung supply itself, kaya yung buong probinsya.
Really?
That's why we are in 24 hours electricity now. No? Siguro yung, actually they are here last 2 weeks, including the ERC, one of the ERC commissioner. And they told us na pag-aaralan mabuti. Siguro konting-konti, sabi ko nga sa akin mga kababayan, we are one step away at magiging, since we are, wala kaming subsidy, so kung mag-rule ang ERC, automatic magkakaroon kami ng subsidy at kuha kami dun sa UCME, under UCME.
20 pesos pa.
20
pesos ang kilowatt hour.
Pero yun ho talaga kasi kung tayo mataas yung production cost because of grid.
Ang ginawa kasi muna namin, tungkol nga dyan sa power, basta magkaroon. Pero siyempre, kailangan natin ipagandahin naman yung patakbo. Kasi parang nasa emergency pa tayo eh. Emergency power supply ang ginagamit natin, kaya mahal. Pero yun na nga, marami tayong kinakabit na cable. Para yung mga ibang lugar na may excess capacity, no excess production ng kuryente, pwedeng dalhin sa ibang lugar. Yun ang nagiging problema eh. May mga areas sa Pilipinas na maraming, Mindanao has excess of power. Bandang Iloilo may excess of power. Meron talaga hindi naman nagagamit, sayang. So, yun ang aming pero long term yan, we'll have to we are planning. Nagagawa na ngayon, but it will take some time. Pero proverbial problem sa inyo yan, hindi na ayos.
Dekada na pong problema.
Oo nga, mula pa nung nagano yan, that's always been the problem in Mindoro, yung nawawala yung power. Anyway, sige, we can discuss that further.
Thank you. Thank
sige.
you po. Salamat.
Pakinggan natin, mga mayor, baka meron kayong dadagdag.
Magandang umaga po, mahal na
Good
Pangulo.
morning.
Ako po ay si Mike Oriani, Mayor po ng Lubang, kung saan po yung Japanese struggler na si Onoda ay nagtago ng 30 years. Opo. Kami naman po ay walang masyadong problema na katulad ng nararanasan ng mainland Mindoro pagdating po sa kuryente, sapagkat 13 pesos pa rin ang aming kuryente, subsidized ng national government ang aming kuryente. Pero nanggaling na po ako kay administrator ng NEA at kami po ay nag-invite na renewable company para po masunod namin yung at least 35% ng kuryente na nanggagaling sa renewable by 2025 po ang magamit po namin. Ano po? At kami po ay nagpapasalamat kay Secretary Laurel. Ako po ay galing sa inyo noong March 4 at humiling po ako ng LGU ay makapag-purchase ng bigas sa NFA sapagkat kukunti na po ang bigas namin. At nag-grant naman po kaagad ni Secretary Laurel. Kasama na rin yung 996 million worth ng farm-to-market roads na hiniling ko po sa inyo. At sana po ay mabigyan kami ng... kasi binubuo na po namin yung circumferential road din ngayon sa Lubang. Tapos ang hangad po namin sa Lubang ay maging training island. Sapagkat ang Philippine Marines po, binigyan namin ng 10 hectares para magkaroon ng training camp sa Lubang. At sisimula na po ngayon taon. Pati po ang pabahay project po, Mr. President, meron na rin po kami. Nag-MOU na po kami sa DSUD. Hopefully, makarating po kayo ng September this year at mag-groundbreaking na po tayo. At nagpapasalamat din po ako kay Administrator Gillian. Nabigyan po kami ng 70 million worth ng irrigation project last year. Bali, luckily, ang Lubang po, nung 2023, naka 500 plus million po kami from the national government.
Okay. Okay.
Bukod pa po yung bigay ni Congressman Odi. Kasi hindi naman kami magkakampi ni Congressman Odi, ay kami po ako po nagpapasalamat. Meron po siyang project sa amin, pero yung 500 plus million po na yun po yung sariling sikap ng LGU ng Lubang.
Wow,
At hopefully this year, mas marami po. Pati po ang DND katatawag lang po sa akin, May 2 entry ay bibisitahin na po yung forward operating base ng Philippine Navy sa Lubang.
Okay,
Opo.
very good.
Ayan.
Oh,
At
sige,
maraming
at least-
salamat po
at
sa
least
inyo lahat.
May progress, may progress.
Magandang
Yeah.
umaga po, Mr.
Good morning.
President. Unang-una, nagpapasalamat po ako na kayo nakarating sa aming lugar at nakita niyo firsthand ang kondisyon namin. Anyway, may 3 sulat pa akong prepare dito para po sa inyo. Una po yung amphibious excavator, kung pwede po kami mabigyan. Kasi po ang mga ilog namin ngayon ay puro silted na po masyadong lahat. So pagka umuulan po, tapos po kami, lagi kami pong binabaha. So kung pwede po, sana matulungan ng isang amphibious
Okay.
excavator. Second po, kung pwede po matulungan din po kami, kasi po ang aming palengke po ay nasunog. Ang costing po ng aming project sa palengke ay nasa 385 million. Mabait naman po yung aming congressman. Ay binigyan po kami ng 200 million, kaya lang kulang pa po kami ng about 185 million. Kung meron po pong tayong mapagbibigyan po kami. Pangatlo po yung aming Aroma Beach. Tinulungan po kami dati nung wala pa po ako, bagong hala lang po ako kasing mayor. Matagal po na yung project ng tourism. Nagbigay po sila ng 20 million para i-develop yung aming Aroma Beach, yung pong boulevard sa aming barangay San Roque. Pero hindi po namin ma-develop talaga without the help of the tourism department. So, may susulat din po kami sa tourism department kung pwede matulungan po yung additional funding para sa tourism namin.
Alright.
Yun lang po ang major principal needs namin po.
Okay.
Sana po yan.
Sige. Salamat na yan. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. President, and I would like to commend the efforts of our national government and our secretaries for the assistance they have been giving the Occidental Mindoro. But I would like to raise one sector, the Mangyan communities, na dapat po nating nabibigyan rin ng karapatang attention because at present po, our municipality of Abra de Ilog, 42% na po yung mga katutubo. And in all crises, they are the most affected ones. For example, in health, they are the most malnourished, they are the most stunted. That's why the DOH has this program for reaching the geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. But in some of the departments cannot touch, does not reach the Mangyan population because, for example, under the tupad, you have to have this cell phone numbers, so they don't have the cell phone numbers. So what I'm asking, Mr. President, is that maybe we could, the departments or the agencies could give a specific fund, particularly for the IPs, which, because all the AICs, we have all the AICs, but special fund for the indigenous people, especially for the Mangyans of Occidental Mindoro.
Why? The problem is nasa processing.
Usually, the AICs are reach the Tagalogs.
Hindi sila makapag-avail?
Sometimes the tupad, they need the cell phone number or ID, but they don't have that. Some of the areas, some of the people don't have that cell phone number or IDs, or the PhilSys has not yet reached their areas. These are geographically isolated, disadvantaged areas, Mr. President.
Pero paano natin ayusin yun? Kasi kahit na may pondo, paano natin paabutin sa kanila?
That's the point, your Mr. President, that we should reach the.
Yes, but how do we do it? It's,
maybe through the DSW, particularly that.
Yes, I don't think we need to make a special fund because the money is there, hindi lang nagagamit.
Accessibility maybe.
Oo, hindi sila nga makapag-avail for whatever reason. Hindi nasasama sa listahan? Hindi, I'm sure kasama kay 42% ang IP population. Oo. Is there somewhere another way that we can do it?
Mr. President.
Simplify the process para hindi mahirapan yung mga
Mr. President, coincidentally,
hindi techie.
yung problema ho ng IPs nationwide has reached us. That's why we piloted lang, kakatapos lang sa Tarlac. We brought the AICs diretso sa communities. Like the ITAS naman ang pinuntahan namin doon. What we'll do is, siguro we'll discuss with the local government units. We bring it to them.
Yeah.
It's a caravan specifically for the IPs.
Thank you very much.
Ganun ho ginawa namin as a pilot sa Bamban, Tarlac recently. Nakita namin sila, dala na namin lahat doon, and we make sure pati yung PhilSys kasama namin.
O ganun na lang.
Maraming salamat.
Ganun na lang. Huwag na, hindi na kailangan magtayo
Opo.
na. Nandyan meron na nag-aantay, hindi nga makapag-avail. Kayo na, bibigyan na lang namin sa mayor.
Opo.
Kayo na munang bahala.
Maraming salamat.
Sige, kilala, kayong nakakaalam
Opo.
kung paano, saan dadalhin, saan nangangailangan, etc.
Maraming salamat.
Sige. We'll do it that way. Yes, that's the best way to simplify the process. Bigay na lang natin sa local government. Oo. Yes. Thank you.
Sa DA naman, we have the 4Ks program na kabuhayan at kaunlaran sa mga kababayang katutubo. So it's specific, di ba? So, but of course, they have to be registered sa RSBSA system. So if we will also send our people.
Yeah.
Sige. And then, ginawang more lenient na for registers of katutubos. Thank you.
Kaya yun ang akin nababanggit kanina na kailangan namin yung tulong ng local government dahil hindi namin kaya hanggang sa barangay level. Kayong nakakagawa niyan. Okay.
Sir po,
Sino?
Mayor po lang ng bayan ng Look. Isa po sa nag-declare ng state of calamity. Regarding po dun sa supply ng bigas, may problema po kami. Dahil yung pong nakaraan sa first cropping, na ilabas po ng aming mga farmers yung aming palay na hindi naman sukat akalain dumating yung El Nino. So, naubusan po kami ng stock. Nagsadya po ako sa NFA, sa bayan ng Lubang, doon sa Tilig. Wala po silang isupply. Ang problema po nila, yung rice mill doon, walang rice mill at doon pa ginigiling yung bigas from Luok at Lubang sa Batangas. So, saka po ibabalik uli ang bigas dito sa bayan ng Luok. Kako hindi napakalaki ng expenses sa travel. Matutuwa lang ikaw yung puhunan ng gobyerno. Dapat, sana magkaroon lang sariling rice mill ang NFA sa bayan ng Luok at sa bayan ng Lubang. Alin man sa dalawang Lubang. Yun po ang problema namin, supply ng bigas. Yun po ang kinatatakot ko na baka dumating ang araw na magutom yung mga kabayan ko. So, hindi lang farmers ang may problema, kundi yung mga fisher folks. At ganun din po, kaya po nagkaganon, unang-una nga po yung tubig na first time namin magpatanim ng mais para sa alternatibong hanap buhay ng aking mga kabayan. Ang nangyari po natuyo dahil po sa epekto ng El Nino. Yan lang po. At maraming po salamat, Mr. President, at sa lahat, sa aming congressman, sa governor, at sa lahat po ng mga kabinete, at kapwa ko, mga mayor. Sana po yung aming problema ay ma-actionan.
Alright.
Thank you po.
Sige. Well, narinig nyo na yung problema.
Mayor, sir, we just heard of your issues and we will make allocation for a dryer and a rice mill. Thank you.
Sa Batangas pa ginigiling?
Sir,
Okay.
nagsabi ako, President. Ang bayan ko po, isa sa mga nag-declare ng state of calamity. Anyway po, kung babanggitin ko lahat yung mga concern, ay baka mauwas po yung oras ninyo. So, pwede po bang humingi ng permiso na lahat po ng mga sekretary nandito ngayon ay makakuha kami ng direct line? Para sila na po ang kausapin namin, Mr. President.
Meron sila lahat na
Sige po. Yun lang po sa akin.
Action center lahat.
Opo. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
Sir, Mr. President.
Yes, go ahead.
From Municipality of Magsaysay po, Mayor Junjun Tria. Una po, gusto ko pong magpasalamat dahil andito po lahat mga secretaries at sa inyo po mismo, Mr. President, sa pag-address po ng problema ng Occidental Mindoro at syempre po kasama po yung bayan namin. Ang Municipality of Magsaysay po ay isa sa nagdeklara ng state of calamity. ang amin pong kabuuan po ng aming palayan ay umaabot po sa humigit kumulang na 6,000 hectares yung pong registered sa RSBSA. Kasama na po doon yung tinataniman namin ng sibuyas. At ang Municipality of Magsaysay po ay isa sa top producer ng onion dito po sa Occidental Mindoro. So, nag-average po kami ng production ng 26,814 metric tons ng onion. Nito lamang pong ngayon dahil bunga ng El Nino at saka nung pong na-damage din po kami nung harabas, nung armyworm, ang amin lamang pong inani ay na-estimate namin ng 17,999 metric tons. So meron po kaming decrease ng 37%. Sa bayan po ng San Jose at sa Magsaysay, yung pong sinabi po ni Secretary kanina, Laurel, yung pong ongoing po, meron po tayong isang ongoing doon na cold storage, yung pong sa Genaro Multipurpose Cooperative. At meron pong existing ngayon yung WBI, nagkikater ng 330,000 bags yun. At yung pong sa Genaro ay nasa 50,000 bags. Pero yung po, kukulangin pa po talaga yon sa mga farmers ng onion producer ng San Jose and neighboring municipalities at doon sa members ng Genaro Multipurpose Cooperative. Kaya po, nagre-request pa po sana ulit kami sa bayan po ng Magsaysay na magkaroon pa po kami ng cold storage. Yung po sana yung sa solar-powered cold storage. At humihingi po rin kami ng tulong. Ang local government unit po ay meron po kami program. Regular po namin to sa budget na 4 million. Binibili ko po ito ng onion seeds at pinamimigay sa mga onion farmer namin every planting season. At least 1 or 2 cans per farmer. At yun po ay malaking tulong, lalong-lalo na po doon sa mga katutubo. Ang approach po namin sa mga katutubo naman, yung mga upland farmer, kung ano po yung implementation namin sa baba, kasama po sila sa implementation. Ang problema lamang po namin talaga, malaki ang ginagastos ng mga katutubo kasi yung pagdadala ng mga inputs doon sa kabundukan, yung accessibility po. Kasi nagbabayad pa sila like per bag ng fertilizer, nagbabayad sila ng 80 sa pagpasok sa lugar nila. Ngayon, pagka harvest season naman, yung mga produce nila, nagbabayad sila sa kabayo or even doon sa habal-habal, 80 pesos per bag. Kaya po ang local government unit, for every time na makaka-receive po kami ng LGSF na financial assistance para po sa ating mga infrastructure project, pinapalagay ko po doon sa access road nung doon sa aking mga tribal community, unti-unti po. Yun po yung isang nire-request din namin na sana po ay makongkreto yung from National Highway Bagong Silang to bypass road po ito from National Highway Bagong Silang, ito po yung sa Bulalakaw Road, going to Sitio Hinango. Napakarami pong sitios, mga tribal communities na madadaanan dito. At the same time, dito rin po yung mga ginagalawan ng ating mga kalaban na mga communist. Ngayon po, pagka meron talagang kalsada rito, kayang-kaya na ho, anytime kayang-kaya po nating pasukin. Dalawa, matutulungan po natin yung mga magsasaka nating katutubo at mapapahina natin ng husto yung mga kalaban doon sa kabundukan. At yun po, nagpapasalamat din po kami sa NIA na nanggaling po kami nitong nakaraan dahil talagang ang pinoproblema namin yung kung paano yung water irrigation ay may po-provide kasi po from Barangay Paclolo papunta po doon sa bukana ng tuyo po kami. Pwede kang yung 4 wheels mo, pwede mong ibaba sa ilog at ka doon sa ilog. Talagang tuyong-tuyo ho. Kaya kawawa ho talaga ang mga farmers namin nitong nakaraan. Kaya nagtamakbo kami sa NIA para naman sa mga solar-powered irrigation system. Meron po kaming fund doon sa aming MDRRM fund para po sa georesistivity test para makita namin kung saan yung may mga groundwater doon sa aming mga kabukiran. Ang hihingi na lang po namin, pag nagawa po namin yun, doon yung possible na pwede natin administrator na ilagay yung mga solar-powered pumps. Kaya yun po yung amin pong nais ipaabot sa inyo. At same time talaga pong nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyo pong pagbisita sa amin, mahal na Pangulo. Maraming salamat po.
Yung NIA naman, may nakaplano na para doon sa mga areas na talaga nangangailangan. Yung bypass road na sinasabi niyo, titignan natin kung kasama dyan sa plano ng FMR. Dahil meron tayong national plan para sa farm to market roads para maging mas mura naman, 80 pesos per bag, napakalaki. But alam ko ang NIA already is nagde-decide na ngayon kung saan ilalagay yung solar powered na pump. Again, siyempre kailangan namin yung tulong ng LGU para alamin kung saan tayo kukuha ng tubig at kung saan dadalhin. Saan ang mga pinaka-critical areas.
Yes.
Okay.
And I must add, dagdag ko lang po, Mayor, meron kaming project dyan, yung Kagoray River Irrigation System. Around 5. Malaki yung area ng 2,600 ang ano natin doon. And initial fund namin doon is around 500 million. Meron lang kaming hingin lang sa LGU para mapadali po tayo. Lalo na dito sa Lipitan, ano po. Pwede po ba na yung mga kapatid nating IPs doon ay pahingan nyo sila ng request para maiwasan po natin ng FPIC.
Saan po yung administrator? Yung Lipitan?
Yung sa Lipitan, may IP po kasi doon. Kung saan po may IP sa project namin, ay kailangan po namin ng request ng IP para maiwasan natin yung FPIC. Para mabilis po tayo.
Okay po.
Thank you po.
Tsaka po salamat po sa 4K at tsaka po yung sa amin po yung special area on agricultural development po, napaka-effective po natin yung pati yung 4K po. Thank you po, Secretary. Yung po mga magsasaka namin sa Saad, nag-benefit po at gumanda po yung mga pananim nila ng mais. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. I think more or less medyo nawaan na natin kung ano yung sitwasyon. But again, patuloy dapat ang mga report na nanggagaling sa local government units, both at the provincial and the municipal level, para alam namin yung mga kailangan gawin. Okay, I think maganda naman siguro ang takbo so far ng pagpadala ng tulong na ginagawa ng ating mga iba't ibang departamento. We will continue all of this pagka meron pang pangangailangan. Sige, maraming salamat sa inyo lahat. Thank you for your comments at maraming salamat sa inyong naging tulong. Thank you.
You just listened to the situation briefing presided by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. regarding the El Nino phenomenon, interventions of the government in the province of Occidental Mindoro.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.